This wasn't just some random Tuesday that became a national holiday. It's the day those rebellious colonists decided, you know what, Britain, we're breaking up. It's not us, it's you, young enthusiast. We're diving deep into the real story behind the 4th of July. Buckle up, because we're about to take a hilarious yet historically accurate ride through the American Revolution. Think Hamilton, but with fewer show tunes and more dad jokes. So, grab your sparklers, hold onto your tricorn hats, and let's get this history party started. Picture this, it's the 1700s. Life in the American colonies wasn't exactly Instagram-worthy. Forget air conditioning and Uber Eats. Colonists were stuck under British rule, and let's just say it wasn't always a picnic. Historian, sure, the Brits brought tea, but they also brought taxes. Lots of taxes. Taxes on tea, taxes on stamps, even taxes on molasses. Imagine getting taxed on your pumpkin spice latte. Not cool, Britain, not cool. The colonists were basically treated like that friend you let crash on your couch. Expected to follow the rules and chip in, but never really given a say in things. Tensions were brewing, and it wasn't just the tea. Historian, the relationship between Britain and the colonies was about to go from lukewarm to a full-blown revolution. And trust us, things were about to get revolutionary. Remember those taxes we mentioned? They weren't just annoying, they were a major bone of contention. The British government, in its quest to manage its finances, imposed a series of taxes on the American colonies. These taxes included the Stamp Act, which required colonists to purchase a stamp for every piece of paper they used, and the Townshend Acts, which taxed everyday items like tea, glass, and paint. The colonists had no elected representatives in the British Parliament, yet they were forced to pay taxes to a government thousands of miles away. This lack of representation was not just a minor inconvenience, it was a fundamental issue of fairness and justice. The colonists believed that they should have a say in how they were governed and how their money was spent. Talk about adding insult to injury. Imagine being told you have to pay for a service you never asked for, and then being completely ignored when you try to voice your concerns. This was the reality for the American colonists. Revolutionary. Imagine being carded for buying a lottery ticket that you didn't win, and that was forced upon you. The frustration and sense of injustice were palpable. The colonists felt like they were being treated as second-class citizens with no regard for their rights or opinions, and that was forced upon you. The British government's heavy-handed approach only fueled the colonists' anger and resentment. They began to see themselves not as subjects of the British Crown, but as a distinct and separate people with their own identity and rights. That's what it felt like for the colonists. They were essentially being told, you pay for this party, but you don't get a say in what music we play. This sense of powerlessness and frustration was a driving force behind the growing movement for independence. They were essentially being told, you pay for this party, but you don't get a say in what music we play. This taxation without representation thing, it wasn't just a catchy slogan, it was a deeply felt grievance that resonated with people from all walks of life. This taxation without representation thing, it wasn't just a catchy slogan, it was the core of the colonists' grievances. They believed that a government that did not represent them had no right to tax them. This principle was at the heart of their struggle for independence. It wasn't just a catchy slogan, it was the core of the colonists' grievances. They yearned for a government that represented their needs, their voices, their right to a decent cup of tea without being taxed to oblivion. The desire for representation was not just about taxes. It was about having a say in their own lives and futures. It was the core of the colonists' grievances. They yearned for a government that represented their needs, their voices, their right to a decent cup of tea without being taxed to oblivion. The colonists wanted to be treated with respect and dignity, and they were willing to fight for it. They yearned for a government that represented their needs, their voices, their right to a decent cup of tea without being taxed to oblivion. The colonists' desire for representation was a powerful force that united them and gave them the strength to stand up to the British government. Revolutionary little did King George know, the colonists were about to throw a tea party he wouldn't soon forget. The Boston Tea Party was a bold and dramatic act of defiance that sent a clear message to the British government. The colonists would not be silenced or ignored. The colonists were about to throw a tea party he wouldn't soon forget. On the night of December 16th, 1773, a group of colonists disguised as Native Americans boarded 3 British ships in Boston Harbor and dumped 342 chests of tea into the water. This act of rebellion was a turning point in the struggle for independence, and, spoiler alert, it didn't involve cucumber sandwiches. The Boston Tea Party was a powerful symbol of the colonists' determination to fight for their rights and freedoms. It showed that they were willing to take bold and dramatic action to stand up to the British government and demand their independence. Section 4. The Founding Fathers, not just faces on money. Now let's meet the Founding Fathers, the brains and brawn behind the revolution. These men were not just figureheads, they were the architects of a new nation, laying down the very foundation upon which the United States was built. Their contributions went far beyond what we see on the surface, and their stories are woven into the fabric of American history.
These weren't just some stuffy dudes in powdered wigs. They were dynamic individuals with unique personalities and diverse backgrounds. Each brought something special to the table, whether it was military strategy, political theory, or diplomatic skill. Although, yes, they did wear powdered wigs. This was the fashion of the time, a symbol of their status and education. But don't let the wigs fool you. Beneath them were some of the sharpest minds of their era. They were brilliant thinkers, passionate leaders, and dare we say a little bit rebellious. Their rebellious spirit was not just about defying British rule, it was about envisioning a new kind of society, one based on principles of liberty, equality, and justice.
There's George Washington, the stoic general who couldn't tell a lie, except maybe about those cherry trees. Washington's leadership during the Revolutionary War was crucial, and his ability to inspire and unite the troops was legendary. Beyond the battlefield, he set many precedents as the first president of the United States, shaping the executive branch of the government. Thomas Jefferson, the wordsmith behind the Declaration of Independence, who also happened to be a bit of a foodie. Jefferson's eloquence and vision were instrumental in articulating the colony's desire for independence. He was also a man of many interests, from architecture to agriculture, and his love for fine food and wine is well documented.
And let's not forget Benjamin Franklin, the OG American, who was as much a scientist and inventor as he was a statesman. Franklin's contributions to the American Enlightenment and his diplomatic efforts in securing French support for the Revolution were pivotal. His inventions like the lightning rod and bifocal glasses showcased his innovative spirit.
These men, along with countless others, risked their lives and fortunes to fight for freedom. They faced immense challenges and made significant sacrifices, knowing that failure could mean death or imprisonment. Their courage and determination were the driving forces behind the American Revolution. They weren't perfect, more on that later, but they believed in something bigger than themselves. A radical idea that all men are created equal. This belief was revolutionary at the time and laid the groundwork for future generations to continue the fight for equality and justice.
These were the influencers of their time, sparking a revolution that would change the course of history. Their ideas and actions inspired not only their contemporaries, but also future leaders and movements around the world. The ripple effects of their revolution can still be felt today. They were the original American rebels, and their legacy continues to shape the nation today. From the Constitution to the Bill of Rights, their vision for a democratic society has endured and evolved. Their stories remind us of the power of conviction and the impact that dedicated individuals can have on the world.
Section 5, the Declaration of Independence, a really big deal. This document is not just a piece of paper, it is a symbol of freedom, courage, and the birth of a new nation. Imagine this. It's a sweltering July in Philadelphia. The air is thick with humidity and the sun beats down relentlessly. Flies are buzzing, tensions are high, and a group of men are huddled in a room, sweating profusely. No air conditioning, remember? The room is filled with the scent of ink and parchment, mingling with the sweat of anxious men. They're about to sign a document that will either make them heroes or get them hanged for treason. The stakes couldn't be higher. Their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor are all on the line.
This, my friends, is the scene for the signing of the Declaration of Independence. A moment that would change the course of history forever. This wasn't just some strongly worded letter to the king. It was a bold proclamation, a defiant stand against tyranny. It was a mic drop moment, a declaration to the world that America was done with British rule. The colonies were ready to forge their own path, to create a nation where freedom and justice would reign supreme.
The Declaration laid out the radical idea that all men are created equal and possess certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These were not just words, they were a revolutionary vision for a new society. It was a bold statement, a promise of a new kind of nation founded on the principles of freedom and self-governance, a nation where the power would lie with the people, not with a distant monarch.
This document, penned with quill and parchment, became the cornerstone of a nation. It was a testament to the courage and vision of the Founding Fathers. It declared that America was no longer a colony, but a nation built on the ideals of liberty and equality. These ideals would become the guiding principles of the United States, shaping its laws, its government, and its very identity. The impact of the Declaration of Independence is still felt today. It has inspired countless movements for freedom and justice around the world. Its words continue to resonate, reminding us of the enduring power of the human spirit. Every year, on the 4th of July, Americans celebrate this monumental moment in history. Fireworks light up the sky, and the nation comes together to honor the bravery and vision of those who dared to dream of a better future. The Declaration of Independence is more than just a historical document. It is a living testament to the values that define America. It is a reminder that the fight for freedom and equality is ongoing, and that each generation must continue to uphold these ideals. In classrooms across the country, children learn about the Declaration of Independence. They study its words, its history, and its significance. They are taught to appreciate the sacrifices made by those who came before them and to understand the importance of their own role in preserving these values. Visitors to the National Archives in Washington, D.C. can see the original Declaration of Independence. They stand in awe of this fragile piece of parchment, understanding that it represents the birth of a nation and the enduring power of the human spirit. As we reflect on the significance of the Declaration of Independence, we are reminded of the courage, vision, and determination of those who fought for freedom. Their legacy lives on in the principles that continue to guide our nation. The Declaration of Independence is a powerful reminder of what it means to be American. It is a call to action, a challenge to each of us to uphold the values of freedom, equality, and justice. It is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the unyielding quest for a better future.